Caitlyn Rell doesn't exactly feel most fantastic, but
Caitlyn Jinx?
take it, yeah.
It's not bad.
And DK, this kind of between a rock and a hard place, right? Because if you ban one of them, then you don't get one of them.
Oh, you
So
don't. Yeah,
instead,
you never ban the AD carry. You just take what you can get. There's still Draven is up as well.
I mean, if Peanut, after all this, just plays Jax, it'd be pretty funny. Let's see what Viper's going to do, though. Nothing wrong with just locking in an AD carry here if he would like to. Misfortune, still up and available.
We didn't think about it because we don't like it.
No.
I don't like playing MF into Wukong. I don't like playing MF into Gragas.
Or into Alistair.
The one saving grace is that you have Rel, so that is as strong, I think, as the 2v2 gets in terms of teamfight synergy, in terms of AD carry.
Oh, that's Draven.
I actually do think Samira is the, if you want to go like alongside what your comp does, I think Samira is the way to go. I do think playing Samira into Jax definitely a high risk thing. It's also going to be a question of mastery when it comes to aiming.
The Mel.
We still don't know where this is going. Can also go to bot.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wouldn't mind that one bit. And Showmaker, maybe it is the Tryndamere, particularly with the Mel and the Gragas. Gragas should go at least partially AP when playing into the Jax.
I mean, when you have the both of them, as now, Showmaker's ready to cook. He's ready to cook.
It's
Are we doing it again? Are we planning? Is this just going to be like, what is happening?
He's taking him on!
It's the Kled. All right. Okay, Showmaker. We're doing it again. All right.
That can't be good.
Look, I don't know whether it's good, but it's fun. And that is the main thing. As now Peanut's wondering what the heck to do. That's an Olaf. That will confirm that the Jax is going into the jungle. Unless it's Olaf jungle. It's been quite some time. Oh, they're
gonna bash our faces into one another.
And honestly, that's been the entire series. I welcome even more of it as we have our first bot lane Mel. This is theoretically the more successful version. We'll see whether it is as we jump into the Rift for Game 5. Wow. The HLE fan chant leader guy has lost his voice. Officially,
send it.
You can really feel the passion. It's fantastic. As Showmaker on the Kled. Wow, somewhere there is a Wolf that's just really excited. Wolf used to just play a lot of Kled mid.
Great skin.
Yeah.
Don't even know what it's called, but it's... I don't know anything about Kled skins.
I mean, it's basically just Corki.
There is no way. There's no way that isn't the best one. By the way. Man, that is very, very cute. Okay.
Look
at him. So, if you don't know what Kled does, it's Kibble Head Kled. That's
Kibble Head Kled.
That's perfect. So, Kled basically...
Wait, does Skull have a different name now that he's a doggo?
I don't know. You can still name him Skull.
Okay. Yeah, I guess doggo called Skull.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do a very quick pointer on Kled if you don't know what he does. Notorious all-in champion. Has two forms, one on top of Skull and one off of.
Yep.
Generally,
they have different buttons?
Yeah, you have the gun. Which is the main thing, and the easiest way to think about it is when Kled is...
Ooh. I think Zeus will still be able to get these. As you can see, the minions got a little bit frustrated at aiming, and so that means that these melees are alive forever!
Yeah.
And he even gets two of them! Oh, a little bit unfair.
We'll see if there's as I say, any potential dive setup, but clearly there won't be because Lucid is on the bot side of the map. But yeah, basically, you're looking for all-ins. The reason that you can all-in very well, outside of just your burst being crazy, is because you have small frames of invulnerability when you switch between your two forms. And his ultimate is a giant Shurelias onto the enemy team.
And it's called Charge.
It is called Charge, which Atlas...
has 4 A's.
Which Atlas will yell at some point during this game, ideally.
I have to. It is the name of the ability, and that is my job.
Yeah.
I mean, I skip a lot of ability.
I'm just also wondering, because I get it with the rest of the comp, right? I get the you want to play aggressive, you want to try and all in as much as possible. But with the minions that's been missing, I'm a little bit worried. The fact that that trade also looked the way that it did, also not great.
The farming of the minions is not quite working.
Yeah, the not, and you really want to hit that chain so you can yoink him back.
Yep.
Get a better trade.
The bear trap on a rope, one of the greatest named abilities ever.
Oh, Clan in general is great for that, as this is a Gragas, who should be hard to dive here. We'll see if they're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, there's the body slam on cooldown though, as the counter-strike comes in. Shiu gonna flash. The ignite is ticking, and Peanut...
He's dead.
Yeah, okay, he's just gonna die. So a 1-for-1, and a teleport is available in 8 seconds time. Maybe not worth here
No,
for
I
HLE.
don't think it is, because they also got double sums out of Viper and Delight. So she was just going to be able to TP back her. I think he can be happy with that. Like, he's obviously going to miss out a little bit on XP, but as we can see, you just have to compare him to Zeus. Main thing is that the TP is now gone as we get this full wave crash. And DK, sure, don't get first blood, but first blood, not that big a deal anymore, especially now compared to when it was the full feat, which I think we're all happy that it no longer is.
Yeah, needing to get a few extra kills.
And now Zeus still looking for a lane to call home. Showmaker. This too is
yeah, there's Beryl with the pulverized flash, and the charm goes wide. Lucid's able to pick up the kill, and that is a second one for DK straight after the teleport, and that's the opposite of what happened in the bottom lane.
And I think what happened there is Beryl faked it back on top side, then rotated all the way through the jungle, which is why Zeka thought that he was on the back.
And this is what Mata used to do. He used to say, in like games like this, he would say, give me the Alistair, we will win. And Beryl did this in 2019 as well, over and over again. His Alistair was the best in the league. That was when Mata was still playing, so that is a big deal, because that guy's Alistair was absolutely obscene, even that year.
Showmaker hasn't backed yet, by the way. Did not get the kill, but the kill went over to Wukong, which is also amazing, because I do think, particularly for Viper, the game is how easy and how playable the game is for him is going to be wholly reliant on how consistent Lucid can get access to him in the backline, and whether or not he has his sums. And if Lucid's fed, it becomes a whole lot harder. So we take another look here. I think Shiu is a little bit quick on the trigger there, but not the end of the world. Still ends up getting the double sums out of Viper, and crucially, the ramp up for early turrets is just crazy. And that's kind of what I was expecting, as here we take a look, and there it is, just not ready for Beryl at all. Showmaker, perfect timing there on that bear trap as well. And I don't really think there's anything that they can do. Also very consciously give the kill to Lucid there. Like, that was very obviously deliberate, which I think is saying a lot about how DK want to play this game out, and that is basically a dream start here for that Wukong.
It's how they always play as well. I mean, it's Showmaker is the guy that supports his jungler. Like, he is, like, there are not a lot of mid-jungle duos that have been as successful when it's the carry is the jungle. And Showmaker always facilitates that. It was the same with Canyon, and it is now definitely the same with Lucid. And Wukong is a great champion to augment.
And last year felt like both Showmaker wasn't in great form, Lucid wasn't as consistent of a carry, but particularly...
But Lucid was also playing too much Sejuani and things like this. I feel like they didn't realize that this was actually fine. Did. Yeah, well, we did. We were yelling at the TV a lot.
A lot. Which I'm sure had gotten old, but... This, thus far, anything you can get done with Wukong pre-6, you can be feeling amazing. Like a kill, getting grubs as well. Champion doesn't really come online before you hit level 6. For HANWHA though, none of this is going to be the end of the world, right? Like, yes, a kill on the Wukong is a bit unfortunate, but I do want to highlight the pick potential and the CC that's there for HANWHA is incredible. Yeah. There's also going to be the question of how will aiming actually do anything in fights? Because Mel, to me, is... and kind of reminiscent of how Caitlyn often... I think it's a lot better now with current itemization and kind of the changes to smooth over a power curve, but really big lane bully. Then I think actually quite hard to play in skirmishes, because even with your W, you are quite immobile, right? Like, you're an immobile, you're an artillery mage. So playing out skirmishes, I think, is actually a lot harder if Zeka ever gets on top of you, if Peanut ever gets on top of you. Yeah. Even with your W, if they play around it well, it can be really hard for you to do anything. And in late game, you turn into a beast again because you have so much damage available and fights become really hard to play out.
The thing that's better for aiming, though, is the fact that they have so much crazy in everywhere else, right? You've got Kled being a lunatic and bouncing around the fight.
I thought you were talking about the players.
Well, I mean, that's true. That's true. The players are being augmented by their champion choices at the same time, though, because it's just knock-up city. Like, actually everyone has the ability to knock people around, knock them up, knock them away.
And that's Dragon as well. Like, that's another objective going over. And I think Viper has one of the hardest games to play here, because he needs to have a big impact, I think, for this comp to really work, as Shiu is just
Sometimes
he has a good amount of CDR.
I think Zeus said something about KDA Ari that Shiu didn't like because he's playing KDA Superfan Gragas. So obviously he said something a bit rude.
Yeah, you have to.
And so Zeus is of course playing Olaf, who is a huge fan of Pentakill, which is just, it's different.
It's
so it's a fandom off. It's a fandom
that
off.
makes sense. Yeah.
So you can understand
That tracks.
I'd say it was nothing personal, but it was only personal. In fact, it was nothing objectively attempted there by Shiu. It was all just his emotions.
I thought you didn't do lore, but here you are.
I dabble here and there. As we are.
Thank you, Jonas Strong.
I mean, it's just adorable. I find it odd though, because it's like a dog, but it's sort of built like a kangaroo.
Yeah, it is a bit. The actual, it's a bit uncanny valley.
It is a bit weird.
I'm with you on that one.
Well, Aiming also is now dealing with a Rel.
Yeah, there's also, which we haven't talked about yet, but this happened in every single Mel intro video I saw. What happens if Viper ults and Aiming presses W? Because we know, it's a rhetorical question. It's really bad for HANWHA. Because it does in fact get reflected.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of abilities that HLE are going to be relying on to sort of throw out
Charm?
as like attempted starts of fights, like charms, like you'll say undertows even.
Okay, I don't Atlas, that sounds like an offensive satchel kind of. I don't think you rebuttal on undertow.
Why not though? What if it is just Zeus running at you? He hasn't pressed ult yet, and you undertow him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a bit slow." I just feel like that might do some emotional damage.
No.
He would then press Ragnarok and kill you. But it could be fun.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe in a scenario where it's only him chasing you, and if you don't, you get chain slowed and die. But yeah, still Olaf with Ghost and Ragnarok, so it's...
Yeah, no, I think he's still dead. Yeah. But you can still rebut it.
Possible angle on Viper here.
Yeah.
Even just an ult.
Beryl is making his way up. There is vision.
Yeah, I think it's because the grubs are up. So if just an ult, maybe to try and force out a summoner, but would instead rather save the cooldown to ensure, and it's going to be... Showmaker is going to be ahead of the roam.
Is it time to charge? Are we charging?
Well, they got to contest this. Otherwise, you give over 6 grubs to DK. And I do think that this is one of the scenarios where DK is very happy for this to go to late.
And they also, they have an incredible split push composition as well. Like, the slipperiness of a Kled is pretty absurd as Shiu's going to face check. Zeka finds the charm, obviously. See whether Shiu's surviving for a very long time, finds a body slam, but no one else is there. We're just going to be taking grubs. And so 5 grubs have now been taken here by DK. Probably okay with that, as Lucid, he's held on to the smite. And Peanut, he doesn't have his. And so it's just Lucid with 6 grubs. They'll take the feat of strength as well. It is 2-2 as far as kills. But DK, they only need to just grab that next kill, and they have got the feats of strength themselves.
The kill on Shiu is big, though. That means that Zeka is in a much better spot than he was before.
Oh dear. There's the flash out by Pov. And Counter-Strike doing a fair bit of work here as Aiming. Looking to come on over. The Make It Rain comes down. He rebuts something. Not entirely sure what it was, but he did press the button. And now, Kled is making his way in.
Oh, that's big. Like, yes, they get the flash, but still, that's TP invested. The kill on Shiu also means that Zeka's in a better spot. And as mentioned, I think there are parts of the DK comp that skill really well, particularly the Gragas, the Wukong. Kled notoriously does not, as look how long Zeka waits here, right? Actually, very, very patient. Nicely done. I think Peanut used his smite probably on his own Krugs. Maybe not expecting DK to already be there, but not getting a single one is a big deal, right? Like, gets the extra empowered grubs for DK.
It's also the first 3 objectives just taken.
Exactly.
One after the other for DK, so it's just a lot of early value in a composition that I think he's okay with going late. You're exactly right about the Kled being a little bit of an issue, but you can see he just has a tea party, goes home, everything's fine. And maybe this skin actually scales better, just because you don't really want to be hitting it if you are the opponent, because it's so cute.
So we have, on one end, Viper, who I think is going to have a very hard game, but then we have Zeus, who I think is going to be having an amazing game, because killing this Olaf is actually going to be really hard in fights. There's also Peanut. So much of the damage from DK is going to be reliant on Lucid and Showmaker, who obviously are going to be relying on their autos a good amount. Shiu is, which I actually love, I imagine going Cosmic Drive. My main question is what he goes after that, because he doesn't need to go AP because they have the Mel.
Yeah.
But I do actually think this is the type of game where the extra damage, because these fights are going to be so explosive, actually makes a big difference.
And Zeus dying as soon as possible is one of their biggest priorities.
It's a very big deal, yeah, because the Olaf obviously gets so much extra attack speed as he gets lower. He has the shield, he has his Ragnarok, which now just goes on forever as long as he can keep autoing in fights. And if shield goes off tank, which again I still think is most likely, and aiming ends up dying at some point, and Zeus,
Barrel. Does have Showmaker alongside as Lucid's still on the Dragon. They're playing keep away.
They don't have that much damage, but yeah, it's a timing from DK is great. I think they're just fine.
And Showmaker is still in this pit. He does need to flash if he wants to exit, unless he just wanders around and tries to avoid things. Hex Tech Soul? That is crazy. Bear Trap on the rope is going to land on the Peanut, but he still has to flash out of the pit. HLE do at least manage to get that. And it's the other tech. The Hex Tech. We've managed to get there. Orcs is still sitting on the couch, pining over a Chemtech Soul. 2 was not enough.
This is my favorite.
Or 3. Was it 3?
It was 3. Yeah,
that's a lot.
I think it was 1 Ocean, and then the rest were.
Yeah, 1 Ocean, the rest of Chemtech. Yeah. So it was all for this. As that is a fair bit of damage here from aiming, who does have 1 item, definitely a large amount more defensive than anything else. We'll see what he builds as the second one. So far, our Mels have not necessarily found that much success.
I do think that the aiming playing Mel is a really big deal, though, because that was, to me, one of the big things in the Gen G series was the fact that we even saw Ruler hover the Ziggs. Yeah. Realistically, Ruler has never in his career shown anything but 80 carries, right? And particularly in a Fearless
1 game of Ziggs and 3 games of Sona.
There you go, exactly.
In the career that he has where, he won Worlds in 2017.
Yeah, and got to finals in 2016. We can make the statement, but I'm glad you acknowledge the technicalities, No,
I mean, I was definitely with you. That's 4 games over his entire career. The entire awesome dude meta just went past.
It might just be a much bigger deal for LCK Cup. Obviously, Fearless is not sticking around for the whole year, so at that point it will be a much smaller issue, but even in the future, could be something to look out for. Looking at the item spikes have been hit across the board. And 2 Drakes again here for DK, I think is going to make the macro from HANWHA Life a bit awkward.
Especially when it's Hextech Soul as well.
This one is like not even, there's absolutely no chance that you can ever give this one up. And I would like this from HANWHA Life, trying to get a pick onto Shiyu. This is the guy that is now playing a chance, right? Only 17. I know he had nerves still earlier on, but was playing for a shot at making it to the finals of the LCK Cup.
Yeah. And remember, the only reason DK here is up is because of Shiyu. The only reason they've made it to this Game 5 is because of him. And so maybe that would help relieve the nerves. Because honestly, he's done enough. So now just needs to stay in it alongside the rest of them. And we'll see whether Beryl on his Game 5 Alistair can make these big plays. Right now, he's going to get a Pulverize off, looking for a headbutt, delivers Delight back, but there's the Magnus Storm, and it's Beryl that's in trouble. The Unbreakable Will is going to keep him up, but there's the charge! As Viper will just flash. And so the charge didn't necessarily need as much volume as that, but that's fine.
I have to.
Beryl is going in again at about 0 health, and now it's Shiyu's turn! The Bear Trap on a rope pulls back Zeka, and they manage to nail the pick. That is going to be feats of strength as well, as a whole bunch of buttons fly to the wayside as Peanut leaps away. DK, that's enough.
He is not nervous.
Absolutely not. There's a bullet time. Headbutt pole. Viper punished in an instant. Beryl is going to go down, but you know what? That's his favorite thing to do. As Peanut's going to flash out of the way. She is still on the hunt, though, as DK getting led towards the Dragon Pit. And thankfully for HLE, it's not up for another minute and a half.
And Zeus earlier, he was looking for a lane. Now he was looking for a play. TP's to mid, finds nothing. The funniest part is that despite all that, HANWHA Life is still ahead in gold. Let's break this down first, but I have something else we need to note. Is Beryl going mega aggressive here.
Yeah.
Great use of the ultimate there to ensure that the Counter-Strike doesn't keep him in place. And then here, Showmaker finds the angle. Charge comes through. And most importantly, this play from Shiyu, right? Absolutely beautifully done. Immediately finds the backline, splits up the fight, and you can see that HANWHA Life were not ready for this to be a 5v5, because if they were, Zeus could have TP'd way earlier.
And you can see, on the other hand, DK were completely ready for this.
100% committed, as there you go. Beryl goes in. Showmaker probably should have been the one to tank that, but Beryl saw the angle, so of course he's going to go for that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Barrel's playing Electrocute Alistair, and that is a Hextech alternator in his inventory. So I imagine that he's going to go Rocket Belt and Electrocute Alistair.
Let him cook.
I've seen a bit of this in solo queue as well. I just didn't expect it to actually make it, but that was a great fight from DK. But the actual trade, not that big a deal. They don't get mid lane turret. A lot of cooldowns were used there for DK, and Zeus wasn't in that fight. So I think we need to see another one of these as the Dragon is now going to be started. Lucid, level 11, has the Cyclone available. They can play for mid, but I don't think they are. I think they're going to try and play for this point. As is the charge going to come through.
Extraordinarily low.
Yeah,
they get the control ward. He's into the pit, but he's not going to be able to steal away the Dragon. There's the bullet time. Is Shiu. He manages to find Viper in the backline. It's gorgeous yet again from DK. But look at this Olaf. He is going completely ballistic, but unfortunately not ballistic enough as Beryl. He's got an unbreakable will. He zones away 3. And DK, despite losing the Drake, they win out on the fight. Man, you are so right. Viper cannot play the game.
He actually cannot play the game. No, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. And without the Herald, that wouldn't have been great. But with the Herald being there, absolutely fine. They get the charge on mid. That's 2 turrets. And even though they didn't get the soul point,
and
DK...
that's 6 grub value as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with mid lane turret gone, those outer turrets are sure to fall soon as well. And I do think that particularly for Showmaker, being able to get this impact in mid game is a really big deal for the Cledis. There we can see, even with that fight win, it actually looked pretty good still for HANWHA Life. And that's because Zeus has just been splitting, right? Like, it really couldn't be more different because every time Shield keeps going for these big plays, Zeus, in this play he's there, but in the previous plays he was mostly farming as...
Oh my god, this young man.
I know, and there's still no flash available there for Viper, and as long as he doesn't have that, he doesn't get to play the game. Now, Shield does go down, and Beryl doesn't get to extend the play, so HANWHA Life, again, stave off a worse fate. I don't think Peanut will, though. I think his fate is unfortunately sealed.
Just a little bit. That might also be more money over to aiming as well as
the
this
support out from Shu!
This is ridiculous as Showmaker gets in there, and Skull just runs away. And so the Kled is just fine with the aggro reset. Teleport now immediately from Shiu to get him towards that bottom side of the map, catch that wave that's heading in. DK just making the right choices, and as I said, oh my goodness, that Shattering Strike so close. They get the control ward in as Lucid gets doubled up upon.
That was
with
like,
using his own decoy.
Yeah, look at my reflexes. That was great. And then just walks back into the brush and just gets shot for 20% of his life.
Wasn't great.
As Showmaker does take the topside play, but that was a big deal. That's a really big gold swing there because that's top outer gone, no cross map available, and Zeka and Peanut both dying.
And they already had feats of strength, but being able to pick up first turret blood, actually no, they weren't able to do that. They fell down on the bottom side of the map.
No idea.
Peanut was just here.
They must. So
normally we get context.
My guess was that they made just completely misread the tempo. Thought they were on bot side, trying to play for Otacon, and then that was already kind of rough. But then the fact that Showmaker even missing that, you look at this, you're like, I think I'm fine. Thinks Zeka, and then at this point he ults, but it's too late because he's gonna hold the ult, of course, because you don't need it. You can just walk it off. But then the emotional support barrel from across the wall.
There it is.
Oh boy, they don't get the collapse. That is a big cooldown gone though, so that might, I think HANWHA Life at some point is just gonna have to start going for more desperate plays, because Viper, even with Flash, I think still barely gets to play. Aiming is sitting on a sizable gold lead, and with how aggressive the rest of DK has been playing, like, HANWHA Life do not have the space to actually try and get on top of aiming.
Yeah. This Mal is, and just quietly sitting 4-0-1 as well, so is really fed in this game. The Gold King himself, a large portion of that 3,000 gold lead, and the dash cannon is done. Oh man, the Rocket Cow is going to be thrown towards HLE in this next team fight, possibly around the Otacon, as we can see here.
Oh, and for HANWHA Life, we need to get a good 5v5. I think most of the 5v5s have been on DK's terms.
Zeus getting his second item.
Yeah.
Going to be a big deal. As he's going to be going back now. Does he have enough to purchase it?
Doesn't look like
question.
it.
No, not quite. Lucid's going to do it again, as he, of course, knew exactly what was going on there. Peanut just
we're setting up
to move away.
For a... Oh my god, he's behind enemy lines. They're still a turret, though, so it's not as good as it might otherwise be, but they are setting up a good amount of vision.
And with the fact that the inner turret's down, is he even behind enemy lines, or is that just kind of there?
It's because of the bot lane turret, right? So
yeah.
like,
No, of course.
It could collapse, but yeah, good question.
He just kind of like walks in there, because he can. And now Viper feels like he is overextended. And as you say, there is still a turret there, but it still feels like that. There are a lot of bad guys down towards the bottom side.
2 item spikes have been hit across the board for DK. Most are also available here. I think Zeus should have his going into this next fight. He's able to pick up the wave. Shiyu has his as well.
Yep.
I think Peanut should be very close, but Lucid having Cleaver and Triforce is such an insane spike. And Peanut doesn't have his yet. I don't know. I don't think you have the time now, even with the Hex Gates. I think he's going to need to stay there. Viper going to look for Prio on this bot wave, and there is also Otacon. So this fight, this might be the decider of the series, Atlas, because if you lose this fight, you might lose 2 objectives for the price of 1.
Yeah.
DK should feel confident to try and play towards this dragon. I don't think you want to start up Otacon, but DK is kind of crazy, so I'm not going to say that with too much confidence.
And look at Shiyu. He's off to the side, wanting to make sure he knows exactly when Zeus is going to be trying to make his way in. See, now they're both just facing off. Otacon getting a little bit upset, throwing the orbs around and things like this.
We're looking for Prio. Lucid can heal off of the... Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Just go towards the dragon here.
Yeah. Definitely feels a whole lot less risky.
Zeka.
Charm. Oh, it's going to be thrown back towards him.
That's rebuttal down, though. That is a decent cooldown.
Well, Zeus is collecting a red buff for the moment. As this Hextech Dragon is going down. Yeah, Showmaker on a bit of a flank angle has the charge, remember. Does want to use that to allow his teammates to enter as well, as Peanut going to leap strike his way out. Otacon's mad at the same time.
There it is.
All right, let's see whether this Olaf can find an angle. He gets in a little bit late, but now Peanut, can you steal away this dragon? That is the question. Make it 2 apiece, as there is so much damage down onto HLE already. The dragon down to 2,000, but the team fight could be the problem, as Showmaker is throwing everyone around. The dragon goes over to DK. There's the rebuttal, and there's the bullet time finally getting some value. Shiyu goes down first. Viper is at full health, as now they're diving forward. They take down the Olaf. Is that going to be enough, though? That's the question, as Peanut fighting against Showmaker, and Showmaker just finds his doggo once again, climbs on top and takes down the Jax. Zeka now with a couple of charges left, but with 2 left remaining on both sides of the rift, it's the dragon that turns the fight.
And Zeka really is the one that starts that one up, crucially. Gets the rebuttal out of aiming, and the rebuttal gone means that Viper can finally hit an ult. Shiyu also goes for an ult and completely whiffs it at some point here as we take a look. Actually, the damage done really well here by DK to ensure the dragon doesn't get in flip territory. That ult
Shiyu missed every button.
Yes, doesn't hit the mark, and then the rebuttal's gone, which means that aiming can ult, or a Viper can ult rather, aiming almost taken down, and then obviously does get blown up. Unfortunate stopwatch as well, given the position, but would have died anyway. But then on the flip side, Lucid and Showmaker do so much damage, and this is the core thing for me, with how much damage this composition has. Just taking down the bot laner isn't enough. Just taking down Shiyu isn't enough. Whereas for HANWHA Life, it does feel like if Viper doesn't get that ulti off, and even if he does, the damage feels lackluster.
It's so much about tipping points as well. Like, if Zeus can just run at the backline and kill them,
oh my god,
that will just happen every fight. But if he cannot, it makes this game so hard for HLE, because then Viper and Zeka need to play this game of, we need to get the rebuttal. We need to make sure that Beryl isn't in range. Does Shiyu have the cask available? Because if it's yes to any of those things, as there is the bullet time now. Okay, rebuttal does come on through, throws back a few buttons. It's now Peanut. He jumps on top of the Wukong. Beryl going to be taken down as well, as it's now Peanut's turn to go nuts. Zeus will turn up, but Showmaker just gets himself out. Shiyu finds a 2-man with the body slam, slows them all down. But the fancy footwork comes on in. He's trying to slow Peanut. This guy is so nimble. It is just nutty. Not quite nimble enough though, and now Showmaker could be the one in trouble. Aiming getting on in there, he's got a few buttons available, but now Showmaker, I think, is just going to be lying on the floor. There it goes, and HLE! They finally strike back, as Aiming is still alive, yes. And now he's hex-gating the wrong direction. It's still just going to be Arcano to HLE.
Just as I was about to say, the key thing is the gold isn't that big. It was only a 2k gold lead. DK overplay their hand, try to go in on the lights, and Viper is waiting at the ready.
And this, maybe that's what they need to find, is a hidden misfortune, one that they're not actually playing towards. You can see Viper wraps, he wasn't even hidden. He was actually on vision here as Aiming comes over, just not quite in time.
That what wins this fight. I think, honestly, maybe Aiming has to like flash rebuttal there. I don't know.
He didn't have flash though.
Yeah, I think the core thing was that they just go so deep, and it's to kill Rel. Everyone kind of funnels in. Even here, Showmaker tries to save shield, right? And trying to recuperate from a lost play. It worked in the previous one when him and Lucy could do it, but not this time around.
Well, we're coming back in, as this time Viper is going to be knocked towards the sky. There's the Cyclone. They're both sent home without really getting too much as the charm into the backline, but Aiming goes golden. It's still Beryl. It's going to be taken down. Now Showmaker gets dismounted. Still doing a fair bit of damage now, trying to get back onto Skull, but doesn't manage to do so. As the cask, that's not going to be able to get him the 200 gold he was looking for. And HLE, they only have a couple taking a little bit of a break, as Showmaker and Beryl are dead for quite some time.
Okay, and now they're going to start up Nash, and it looks like DK is just going to give it to them. There are still a good amount of Otacon buffs available. Free, Zeka, Peanut, Zeus, and HANWHA Life. It's the resilience of this team. As we take another look how this situation came to be, I'm not shocked that DK is very happy to just go for this anyway. Beryl rocket belting towards an Olden Viper is exactly what we'd expect. Yeah. But crucially, with the buff, Zeka and Peanut can play with no care in the world and not caring about their life. Whereas the same can be said. Showmaker obviously has Silent. I feel like maybe they could have tried to extend their play, but if they don't hit, then obviously it's a disaster. But now it kind of is too. Yeah. Now the only thing that DK can look forward towards is wait at this Baron buff. Trust that your composition still gets the job done, and obviously play for the Hextech Soul. I think that you might just have to let this one go, and as I say that, of course, they are not.
Yeah, we ain't letting it go. DK,
flash.
If they can actually contest this, though, they are buying some Baron time. It is up for the next 2 minutes, but it does mean that it's going to be harder for Zeus to split things like this.
It's also very hard to keep Lucid out of the pit, right? This is a Wukong with flash.
Yep.
And we'll see if he actually opts to go for this. It looks like, and I think this is the right call. Not gonna go. Just clear the waves, push out as far as you can, and don't allow HANWHA to further build the goalie, because if HANWHA can find a fight from 3k gold down, that turns it around. You can too, as we've seen this one before.
Yeah, engaging onto Delight certainly can be a bit of a problem here. There's the flash forward from Lucid. They get on top of Viper, who flashes away, but Showmaker is lying in wait. Still, they manage to take down the 80 carry, but Lucid is going to die as well, and into the backline goes the Olaf. Aiming is going to go golden, but Olaf just changes his mind. He wants to kill Shiu, and he's going to get him. Down he goes. The Mel's already dead, and this is that critical mass that we were waiting for the Viking. They've got Baron. They've got an ace. And it's Game 5, HANWHA Life Esports. They do it every time.
Do not bring this team to 5 games. Do not bring these players to 5 games. Zeus won a finals in 5 games. Zeka won a finals in 5 games.
Viper won a final in 5 games, and this isn't even the final yet. However, it's a 3rd in a row for HANWHA Life Esports, and they'll take it down.